Hello VC, hello everyone. This is the fourth part of my history of music. I'm going to be discussing the year 2014. So yes, let's get on, shall we? So I left with saying I'd watched the film Highlander at the end of 2013. So really now going into 2014. Actually no, from after that, after listening to Highlander, I would, I really loved the songs, the Queen songs are in the film, so I'd always listen to them on my computer, going away, so it really was like, Joe, I want to discover what else they've done. I knew a lot of Queen songs already. I knew Bohemian Rhapsody, Don't Stop Me Now, Bicycle Race, Radio Gaga. I knew all of them. I knew them, of course, because who hasn't heard those songs? It's like a way of life, maybe. So I knew some of them, but really, to me, at that point, I was really going to, throughout 2014, for the beginning, I was going through the 80s stuff. I really loved the 80s era Queen, so the Works era, Backchat from Hot Space, So I was really much just as well doing my research on Queen, seeing what albums they had. I mean, Watch Mojo did a helpful video on Queen where I learned a lot about them. Thought, okay, that's well. And I watched certain videos on Queen, just trying to see, who this band will, what other things they'd done. It's why I haven't gone into the later era. So the Magic album and Innuendo especially were the two albums that I were like, really became quite close with at that point. I didn't have the album. I just listened to, of course, to watch the videos on YouTube. They were just so like really just cool to me. So I was slowly getting into them, around this point. And then my dad, I think it was around, must have been March. Must have been around the beginning of March. I think we went to Chester that year. I bought some DVDs and my dad got me this CD. Said, "Pay check, I got your CD." I was like, "Oh, thank you." It was Queen, Greatest Hits. Yeah, it's missing the cover. I lost it in school, I believe. But, this was a very, well, at the time, actually, my impression was, because it didn't have any of the ones I'd heard a lot of these already before, and they're just like, they weren't the ones I liked, I didn't say that, of course, but I was like, cheers, Dad, I just completely, for a long time, it was sitting on the shelf and I ignored it. Yeah, sorry about that. I've pissed off a lot of people now, and but I was really just still listening to my, the Innuendo era, the Magic stuff, the 80s stuff. Nothing really of the early 70s stuff, nothing. So yeah, but really it was a slow process of going back, really it was. So then, so time was passing, and I'm sure it must have been around June. But it was before summer, because summer back then was middle of July. That was when summer was, and you'd have 6 weeks off, basically. So it must have been before, so it must have been June. I always say it was June when I picked this up from HMV. One of the first CDs I'd bought in a long time. Queen, Greatest Hits 2. HMV banger, so to say. But yeah, this was just, constantly listened to. And I don't think I listened to it on my stereo system, because I think around this point as well, or maybe before, I'm trying to think now, it must have been around after I bought this, definitely, or before, I can't remember. My stereo went, my CD stereo went, I always remember going, oh, it's broken, damn, it was horrible, and sadly I've never been able to find a picture of it because it was such a good stereo. I always wish I could get it again, but it's just gone now, which is a shame. Someday I do hope, when I have a place of my own, I'm able to afford a Pioneer system to go with my turntable and all that, so I can listen to CDs again. Because this record's really on my phone at the moment, so yeah. Anyway, back to the story. So I used to listen to this via a clever trick of using my portable DVD player with the headphones in, and I used to walk around with this. Walk around, the garden, and listen to music, on the weekdays, And it was a nice time where it was nice and sunny, you know, nice sunny pre-summer, you know, that great feeling. You know, good times. Played the hell out of this, still works thankfully. And the best thing about this as well was, just with me learning more about Queen, besides going searching videos on the internet, watching the stuff and that, the booklets, CD booklets, always contain great facts about the band. And me learning more about them, you know, the chart entries and all that. These are all great. These are really good CDs, in my opinion, you know. Damn good effort in these reissues. So, yeah, that was really, really nice. So, yeah, that was really nice. But, you know, I was really just fully into them when summer came. It was just like, okay, Queen. And I really was discovering, you know, the Innuendo album I was listening to a lot, Innuendo Bit era and the Made in Heaven era, which, you know, I'm quite a fan of as well. And of course the 80s stuff. And finally, also around this point, I did finally get my brain around this, and it was amazing. Getting my brain around this as well, and absolutely falling in love with every track on this album as well. So yeah, I did eventually love this album, and I really was then by that point fully into Queen. They were a band I loved, especially throughout the summer. I always have great memories of summer 2014 because I went back to second trip to America with the family, and I always remember like me with my headphones, you know, going you know, hugely into them. I'd become it was that group after Pet Shop Boys. I hadn't had that big feeling before of loving a band so much, and I really did. You know, and still do love Queen. So yeah, now we're getting around to the fall. So really nothing's changed, everything's as normal, and I'll always remember this. I think it must have been around, I'm sure, but I remember it was like a Friday probably. My mother just came down and said, "Hey, I found this in the loft, Sean. In my special box." And well, just saying, by this point I knew what these were, because I used to watch a YouTuber called Queen Collectibles when he used to show Queen records, so I knew what vinyl was. I just didn't have any, or I'd never seen one. And it was this. This was the first piece of vinyl that I ever held, and it's We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You, double A side. And this was so cool to finally look at. So yeah, I'll always remember that. Going, wow, this is so cool, you know, because I'd seen it, and I thought, oh, this is, you know, it was cool, you know, things like that. And then, so I was really much reading about different bands as well by this one. I was actually reading on about Live Aid, researching about Live Aid. And I remember watching that. I've watched the documentary on YouTube, Rock and Roll the World. It's a really good documentary on Live Aid. They're about these different acts, so Ultravox, Bob Geldof, his involvement. I'm really just learning more about these other bands, like Status Quo and all them. And I'll always remember this, in Age Cymru in Bangor. I always saw there a record of Status Quo's In the Army Now, and I never picked it up actually. And I always kind of got it, because that could have been one of the other records I could have had, but anyway, we're getting there, we're nearly there, don't worry. So around this point as well, I'd found out about Bob Geldof. I remember like researching him one evening going, what, Pink Floyd The Wall? What's that? You know, and I completely went through me, thought, oh, whatever. Oh, it's a film based off a band called Pink Floyd, who I've heard of a few times, you know. That was the general reaction at the time. And I kind of just thought, whatever. I'll tell you what, another song I really loved at that point was Ultravox. I liked their songs Dancing with Tears in My Eyes and Vienna. Still do to this day, and later on, you know, really love them. Sorry, like Ultravox. I was very much getting into different types of music. All the 80s stuff was coming in as well. That point was starting to come in. It hadn't come in yet though. So anyway, I always don't remember the date, but I was in Oxfam. It must have been November. I know it must have been November. Yeah. I always got the date confused with this. But I got this for around 25 pence at Oxfam. No, not Oxfam, Age Cymru, sorry. It had Queen on it. And the interesting thing is, I think a while before that, I'd seen a Queen record in Scope. Sorry, yes, Scope was the place. And I said, Dad, can we pick that up? No. Oh. It was sheer heart attack. But I think it must have been a while later where I picked this up because I had Queen and I thought, oh, it's got a Queen photo on it. And I just grabbed it, it was 25 pence. This was the one that started it all. Now that's what I call music free. Some great songs on here later on. Well, I knew a lot of these songs already. I knew The Reflex, you know. I knew Nick Kershaw, I knew Ultravox, and I knew Phil Collins, you know. I knew the Frankie Goes to Hollywood one. I knew a lot of these songs already. Bob Marley. I knew, you know, Time After Time's on here. Tina Turner, I knew that one. I knew Wham. So I knew a lot of these songs already. These weren't alien. A lot of these weren't alien to me. A lot of these were quite, you know, like, alright, I know what these are. So it was that, you know, this was the one, I'll always say. So, yeah. That was it, and it was interesting. Also, later on around this point, it was before Christmas. Must be around, it was before Christmas that I think, or maybe it was after I got this. I remember buying it. I got a film called UHF, which I'd heard was quite good. It has the parody artist Weird Al Yankovic in it, who I'm also surprised. You're sorry to know I'm a fan of him as well. So you know, I thought, oh, I'm gonna get that film. I actually got that film, and I actually really like that film. It's one of my favourites of the 80s. If you've ever seen it, it's a weird film, but I love it. And I remember later on, you know, it's really thing. I remember it must have been that what spurred me to click onto this video talking about Weird Al Yankovic vinyl, and it was Vinyl Rewind. That must have been, I always reckon that was the first one that I watched based on vinyl. That was the first vinyl based video I watched. I'll always say it, it must have been. I must have been. But yeah, I was really just like, wow. And it's interesting, November, sorry, I just want to say this, I did actually sing We Are the Champions by Queen. So yeah, for my high school talent show, I was able to pull it off then, you know. It was around this point as well I was becoming more familiar with Pink Floyd, and you know, reading. I think I watched a Watch Mojo bio video on them, and searching for who they were. So it was that, you know, it was that kind of thing. So you know, it was kind of piquing my curiosity, and then I remember this must have been late December when I found out that they were doing a new album. I know they hadn't been together for a while, they hadn't made anything in years, but you know, it was like, oh, new Pink Floyd album, maybe I'll check that out someday. And it happened to be the coincidence. The coincidence was that my best friend, gave me a CD for Christmas, and it happened to be Pink Floyd, The Endless River. It was interesting. After I got that, just before Christmas, I picked up this in Age Cymru, Sinatra My Way, my second record. So that was really nice. Yeah. And it was interesting also, on Christmas Eve 2014 my mother gave me some 45s, and most of them Christmas ones, which I'm going to show off as a part of a Christmas video I'm going to do soon. Here was one of them, the Boomtown Rats, I Don't Like Mondays. I was quite familiar with the song at the time, so I was like, oh, that's quite nice to have in my ever-growing record collection at the time. And then Christmas Day came and I got 2 CDs, which I'll just show. Queen Forever, the deluxe version, and the essential Weird Al. And that is the first part of part 4 done. Stay tuned soon for the second part of part 4. Bye for now, VC.